Hey guys, this is Bentley here. Um, Today I want to review the new Microtech Metalmark Ballet Zone. It's a brand new model, just hit the market I believe at the beginning of August. I ordered mine last week and it just got here this Monday. Um, Now, there's been a lot of talk in the forums and stuff about exactly what this knife is like, so I figured I would just give you guys my opinion on it. Now, before I get started, there is one thing I would like to admit to, and that is that the only ballet zong I have owned and operated so far is the small fly. So, my prior experience is a little bit limited, so bear that in mind. I'll try to, bear that in mind as well as I go through this review. Clearly, these are two extremely different knives at extremely different price points, so they can't really be compared that much. Anyway, I was very pleased when I got this. There were a couple little issues with it that I'll go over with the fit and finish, and the pivot screws were a little bit too tight when I first got it, which was disheartening until I managed to pick up the proper torque screw, but I'll get to that. Okay, so I guess first let's open it up, let you take a look at it. Personally, I think it's a nice looking knife. I know aesthetically it's a little bit out there, so feel free to disagree with me. But I do like it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is going to be the blade. Now this is made with a CTS 204P, which is going to be Carpenter's version of a Bowler's M390. So it is supposed to be an extremely wear-resistant steel. It's also supposed to be decently tough, which is nice in a ballet zone considering how often they get dropped, at least how often I drop mine. Now, the grind on this is really nice, at least, in my opinion. I do like the lines on it. I think it turned out very well. There are three issues with it, or three very, very minor fit and finish issues I have with it. The first, I'll see if I can get it to show up, is you can see right here, there's a transition from this grind to that grind, and there's an inflection point right there, and there's a nice little ridge that goes along there, which is supposed to be there. But if you can see just past it, in the reflection, there's a slight line there, which is not really even perceptible to touch, but looks like it might be a slight imperfection with the grind. Not really an issue. I don't know how much that even shows up. It's definitely not on the other side. The other thing, and if I can get this to focus, is right here in this section. This side is slightly asymmetric to this side. I don't know how well you can see that. And there's also a very minor imperfection there too, that I don't know if they show up. As a whole, those issues don't particularly bother me. It's an extremely nice knife. I had to look at it pretty hard to even spot those, and yeah, they really don't matter too much to me. Okay, moving on. The handles are solid titanium. It is a channel style ballet zong. Definitely not a sandwich. Now, let me see if I can show you. Now, these do not have any sort of weights in the end of the handles. The only weight of the handles is the handles themselves. Now, as you can see, the bite handle is a little bit larger than the safe handle in width. But what they did do, which seems to compensate partially for the weight difference, is if you look here, you can see that this is thicker along the end here at the channel, whereas this is a lot thinner. It's been hollowed out to make room for the latch, and a little bit hollowed out right there to make room for the dip in the blade. So actually, I think the handles are pretty close to being equal in weight. That said, I have not dismantled them and weighed them separately. Ooh, and actually on that note, I did forget to give you the original specs at the beginning of this, so let me do that right now. The handles are just shy of 5 inches in length. They are 4 inches and 15/16, at least based off my measurements. The blade itself, the cutting edge, is 3.5 inches dead on, and the thickness of the blade, as measured across here, is about 0.15 inches. So it's not a terribly long ballet zong, but it does have a very beefy blade. Actually, it feels quite nice. Now the handles themselves are milled really nicely. I really like the way they turned out. If you can see up here for the pivots, They are actually Torx screws, size T30, but they're not quite conventional Torx screws. As you can see, they're milled, fancy. They're actually very nice looking. It it does add, in my opinion, to the aesthetics of the knife. The screws they used here to hold the latch in place are apparently, I think, some sort of proprietary Microtech screw, which I think they're kind of infamous, excuse me, for using. But as you can see, the handles are rather asymmetric. You clearly can't move the latch off onto the safe handle if you wanted to, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Though if the spring does start to die, you would have to send it back to Microtech to have that replaced, unless they want to, send you out the proper screwdriver. The pin appears to be screwed in place. I'm not positive, but that's what I bet my money on. Okay, the latch. The latch is actually very nicely done, I think. Yeah, there. It's milled somewhat fancily. Nice lines, but it actually pops into place really nicely. It's very easy. It takes a little bit of force to pop out, but it does lock very securely, and it does lock in the open position as well. This does not use bushings. It actually does use ball bearings, ceramic ones, I believe, and it does move very, very smoothly. I mentioned earlier that when I first got it, the pivots have been over-tightened a little bit, and the handles did not swing freely. I got the proper Torx screw, opened them up a little bit, and now they swing really smoothly. It's actually quite nice. Now the thing about this is this knife has absolutely zero handle play, and I've heard a lot of people mention that before and then demonstrate and show that it only moves like 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters, maybe 1 millimeter, and they call that zero. But this knife actually has zero handle play. Let me get back into focus for you. They just do not move. And I'm applying a fair bit of force to it. Maybe like 1/3 of a millimeter tops, if even that. Does make flipping it very interesting. Okay, and as for flipping, I'll just give you a quick demonstration, but yeah, this knife is definitely a flipper. Alright, seriously though, I'll get you an actual demonstration of flipping it in a moment.